You have 3 Ps that you teach for perseverance. What are they, and why are they so important to you?
You know, I mentioned I spent 2 years deep diving into this topic, and people use different nomenclature, different language. MIT was using different words from Harvard. They were using different words from Stanford. And so what I did is I culled all this information. And the girl that was raised on Sesame Street wanted them all to begin with P, because every preacher knows that just keep it one letter and then people remember it.
Yep.
But so these were the 3 Ps of resilience. The first one is perspective, and I'll explain them in a second. The second is the ability to pivot, and third is purpose. And so what we have to understand, people out there, listen, if they don't get the book, that's okay. God bless you. But let me just give you some practical handles to hold on to right now. If you are listening right now and you want to build your resilience, the first thing you have to do is have the right perspective. What is perspective? It is an honest assessment of reality while maintaining hope. So you could say, I am $45,000 in debt, but I'm aggressively saving and paying off my credit card. That's the truth. The truth is you're in debt, but you're also having the faith perspective, the hope perspective of I'm taking this seriously. The second thing we need to do is have the ability. This is a hallmark of all gritty gangsters. You have to have the ability to pivot.
Yes.
So if, let's use this because we're talking about finances. Let's say that your savings plan was knocked down because you needed new tires and that's going to cost you $887. Oh, what do we do? Pivot. I'm going to cut my entertainment fund. I'm going to cut my spending fund. I'm not going to put on the AC in my house for a couple weeks. Why? Because people who are resilient don't look at that as a loss. We look at that as an opportunity to adapt and overcome and innovate. And then lastly, and this is key. This is most of the research that I found from every university was coming out of a doctor who survived Auschwitz. His name is Viktor Frankl. He wrote a book called Man's Meaning of Purpose. And what he discovered in studying survivors out of the Holocaust, of which he was one, that those that went on to live lives thriving, full of purpose, and those that were most successful had an understanding of purpose. And this purpose for us, especially for those that are believers, is knowing that God is going to take this pain and it will produce something in my life for good.
So good.
I may not like it. I may not want it. I don't even want to co-sign on it. But whatever is happening now, it will be for my good. It's making me a different person, a better person, a more refined and more mature person. So having the right perspective, having the insane ability to pivot, and then having an understanding that this pain will have a purpose, those are the 3 key ingredients for people that want to develop resilience in their life.
I often get questions about life insurance, where to buy, how to find affordable rates, the simplest application process, and most importantly, where to secure coverage instantly. Like, people don't want to wait a long time. They want the coverage right now. Giving the startling statistic that nearly 40% of African Americans do not have life insurance coverage today, it's even more critical to address these questions. My recommendation to all these questions is simple. My friends over at Ethos Life Insurance. These are the people who hold my life insurance policy. You see, their mission is to simplify life insurance and make it accessible online to everyone. No paperwork, no medical exams, or check this out, no blood tests. You simply answer some health questions online, and just like that, you can secure coverage the exact same day. But the cherry on the top, family, Ethos offers an incredible deal that I wish I had when I signed up with them for my life insurance policy about 2 years ago. You see, when you secure a life insurance policy through them, they will throw in a will and estate plan for 100% free. I'm tripping and I'm excited at the same time because I personally spent $2,500 on my estate plan at the beginning of this year. So getting it free with a life insurance policy that might cost you as low as $50, that's a no-brainer. I mean, like none. Don't just take my word for it. You see, Tanner R., a customer, secured a $500,000 30-year policy without a physical exam through Ethos. He says the price was great. The process was completely easy. You see, Ethos truly values our time. You see, Alex got approved for a $1 million policy in just 5 minutes. She said, simple and straight to the point. Comments were, surprisingly, user-friendly and great communication. So, are you ready to protect your family's financial future? Don't let this statistic define you. I want you to get covered today and get a will and get the life insurance policy and get the what's it called? The estate plan for 100% free. All you got to do is go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Secure your coverage today and ensure peace of mind with your loved ones. All right, let's get back to today's show. Bianca, I love you, sister.
I love you too, brother.
Listen, how you was breaking that down, I just love that because I think sometimes we have a hard time pivoting. People don't like changing. They don't like last minute adjustments. They don't like hitting a wall. I'm like, wait, okay, this doesn't work. Like they get sometimes nervous, scared, question like, what if I got to change? Is that God? And it could be God. You know, and it's like there's nothing wrong with pivoting. My dad taught me. We were on a bike, and I was riding a bike, and he was running because my dad was in the Marines. So, you know, he had to, keep his body right, keep his running going because of I forgot what they called it in the morning when they ran every day. And so when they weren't working, he would still get up and run so he can maintain. When we was coming down this hill, my dad tripped. And as he tripped, he quickly pivoted and rolled down and got right back up and started running. And when we got to the garage, when we got home, he said, hey, did you see what happened earlier? I was like, yeah, he almost cracked your head, Dad. He said, well, no, son. I adapted, I adjusted, and I overcame. And I was like, wow. He said, you have to learn how, when life hits you, how to quickly pivot and not allow life to throw you off of the direction God has you. But you may have to pivot real quick. You may have to adapt and adjust real quick. But the key thing is you can overcome it. And you can't overcome it if you live in the sorrow, if you live in the drama of what's going on. You got to look at it. You got to pivot. You got to move. You got to overcome and keep on going. And I was like 12 when my dad taught me that. I knew nothing. I said, okay, yeah, whatever. But at 39, almost 40, I get it. Yeah. And people quit because they don't know how to pivot. Yes. People quit because they see this obstacle and they back up and they stop. And this is why I believe your book, your message is very, very important. And y'all, we're going to link her book in today's show notes. Get it. It's not just this book. You got 2 other books that are just amazing. What are the 2 other books that you have as well? Because I want to link all 3 of your books. Because, I mean, this is as a preacher.
Yes, my previous book was called How to Have Your Life Not Suck. And then the book before that was Play with Fire.
I wrote this question. I gotta ask this question. I had like 10 questions, but we only had like 5 more minutes. But I want to get this one because you use the Apostle Paul as an example of how God uses grit to transform. Can you describe why you chose Paul in your book and how you came to the understanding that significance of perseverance in his story?
Okay, so I affectionately refer to Paul as my Bible bae. He is my Bible boyfriend, and I could have a crush on a dead guy.
About that, though?
I'll tell my husband he's dead. Okay, I can have a crush on a dead guy. And you want to know something? I love Paul the Apostle because nobody typifies grit and resilience more than this man.
Yeah.
In the pit of a prison.
Yeah.
He pens 2/3 of the New Testament. Wow. And I look back at this, and there's this one moment. He's actually destined to a place called Rome to speak to the most powerful man in the world, in the most powerful country in the world. And God tells him, you will go to Rome. And this is confirmed with an angel. This is in Acts 27. An angel tells him, no, it has to happen. So if I am Paul and I'm in the middle of a storm and an angel appears to me and says, no, it has to happen. You will go to Rome. I'm thinking, I'm going to go hang out with Caesar. And then I get to minister to Caesar. I'm going to lead him to Christ. There'll be revival in Rome because it has to happen. Clearly, the Lord is sparing me. He's taking me to an island called Malta, which Malta means refuge. Hello, God's got a sense of humor. But it doesn't matter what happens to me on Malta. Get bit by a snake. People think I'm crazy. It doesn't matter because it has to happen. I've been told by God, it has to happen. I have to go to Rome. But do you know that when he gets to Rome, he spends the rest of his living life on lockdown? So the reason why I just look at Paul with such admiration is because Paul could have gotten bitten on Malta and bitter with God, but he stayed the course. Paul could have got so salty when he ended up having to be on house arrest for the rest of his life in Rome, but he used that pain to pen letters. He couldn't be with people physically, but he used that situation. He used his time to be able to communicate theology. Who is God? Why does God matter? The impact of our theology that we have as Christ followers, our theology as followers of Jesus, comes primarily from this man named Paul. So when God told Paul it had to happen, did Paul know that billions of people would read these letters and have their faith impacted by him? Did Paul know the legacy that he would leave for generations upon generations? Did Paul know that people would have an awakening to the reality of who this man named Jesus was? But it had to happen, and it had to happen that he was in prison, because it had to happen because he had to write letters, and it had to happen that those letters became canonized for us in holy writ, scriptures that we get to read today. Yeah. So it doesn't matter where we are. I want to maximize every place that I'm in, every pain that has come my way. And the reason why Paul is the one who I use as a reference point is because it didn't stop him. He endured physical pain, emotional pain, abandonment, accusations, but it didn't stop him from doing what God had called him to do. Yeah. And that is my desire. Extreme obedience. Eugene Peterson says it this way: long obedience in the same direction. That's the call.